Welcome to Achievement Hunting 101 Summer School Edition, where we don't have a panel, but we've still got some extra content segments for your listening pleasure. I am Kushmoose, and this is level 315. Before we get to our extra content, the Game Pass editions and leavings have been announced for the first half of August. Leaving August 15th, we have Off-World Trading Company on PC, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre stack, it's a stack, on Xbox and PC, Airborne Kingdom on Xbox and PC, and Shadow Warrior 3, which is also on Xbox and PC. While the first three games leaving the service are a bit beefy and they'll be hard to start and complete before they leave, Shadow Warrior 3 is estimated to take 6 to 8 hours. We also have some additional news, or some additions news. Creatures of Ava and Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy have been added to the service, along with a stealth drop collection containing Doom and Doom 2. The next game we know about is Mafia Definitive Edition, coming on Tuesday, August 13th. I'm at the beach, so we weren't able to record Game Passable. That may be coming next week. And with that bit of news out of the way, please enjoy the fifth segment of After Party.
Welcome everyone to the AH101 After Party. Here we discuss any and all things that have to do with that Chivo life that chose us. I am Elroy OMJ and he is X the Hero, and this week I want to discuss what I can only describe as my complicated relationship with Mad Max. And by Mad Max I mean the Xbox video game, not some zany neighbor that I refer to as Mad Max, or not the movie either, because obviously that movie was awesome for nothing else but the guitar guy, but I don't remember much about it, to be honest, but I just remember the guitar guy was pretty bad. So yeah,
the guitar guy is so cool.
He was so cool, man. I don't know.
Imagine that's your job, just rock out on a truck through the desert.
Flames everywhere. I mean, that guy stole the show. I mean, that's all I remember about the movie now. But yeah, fun little thing on that. I went to Comic-Con that year, and I ran into a dude that was dressed up like the guy that was on the front of the truck with the guitar. And so obviously I asked him for a picture. I have a picture somewhere of me with a guy that looks very much like the guy from Mad Max. So by the star, I mean the guitar guy. So
the real star.
Yeah, the real star of the movie. So this game came out in 2015. So it's about time that the podcast, addressed this game for the first time since the last time it probably did. I think maybe Kush talked about it at one point. I think he did it around the time it was about to go. Well, I'll get there in a second. But anyhow, I see you haven't touched it in about 8 years. Is that right? So
that sounds about right.
Yeah. And so before I go into my thoughts on it, what was your kind of surface level take on it, if you remember anything?
I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Okay.
I had a blast with it. It was just one of those. I played the whole story. I did some of the collectibles and side quests. It was just, I didn't bother going for the full completion because it's just a bit of a grind.
Okay.
But for what I did play, I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Yeah. It's funny you refer to it as a grind. Like, if you look at the top review on TAs, it states it's only a grind if you let it be. So, I don't know, for some reason I just like that. I don't know who the guy was that wrote it, but I would credit him if I had it. Actually, I probably do have it pulled up here. Yeah, that guy. That guy that wrote that. Fat Damien. Yeah, fat with a
Fat Damien. Totally.
Yeah, with a PH and an AE. So he's all kinds of cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, Damien and Fat. Okay. So, well, I'm curious if you're going to like my comparison. I wonder if you'll take this journey with me on this. So here's why it's complicated for me. So it's just that there's so many just things about it, but yet there's so many things about it that I just really enjoy. it's like this mixed bag where it's like the most conflicted I've been about a game in a long time. And it's also coincidentally like the most enjoyable game that I have played in a long time as well. Sorry, Batman. But so let me start with this. This is what I think really hooked me. I feel like it's the spiritual successor to one of my favorite games of all time. Kind of like, I've beaten to death the how um, Castle Crasher needed a sequel, which I finished that game up not too long ago, the original. Thank you, Triple, for boosting with me on that. But and then we just sat there waiting for the sequel and it never came. Well, to me, this is kind of like the same thing, even though it's really not. But I feel this game is the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which is the best Assassin's Creed of all time, of course, of the road. Okay. So to think
I'm
back
gonna
to your
need to hear an explanation of that one.
yes. All right. So think back to the Black Flag days. Okay. What made that game so special? So in this game versus that game, instead of a ship, obviously it's a car, and instead of just going around island to island, you have this car that has flames coming out of it, going off to remote locations that might as well be islands. I mean, it's just, there's like nothing, and then there's like a little, bunch of rebarb sticking out of the ground with something that you're supposed to get there, or
So you got the sand ocean instead
yeah,
of
it's
the
like
ocean.
yeah. I mean, it's technically, I guess, in the Mad Max world, the ocean has drains, so theoretically, this is
That's true. It could actually be the ocean.
yeah, that's right. Well, that's
I didn't even
it's
think of that. All right.
yeah, it's the body of water. So perhaps this is the last game in the Assassin's Creed series after it near the end. We're fast forwarding a lot, but basically in Black Flag, you went by ship to a location to go. You sail up to this because there's a treasure chest there because it's on your map, and so you have to go over there, and then you jump out, and then you swim the rest, or if there's a dock, you dock there, you crash your boat into it and dock off of it, and then you grab the treasure chest, and then you jump back in, pull up the map, go to the next place. That's if you're going for everything. And so that's kind of what this is there's all these locations around that have scrap, which is their version of chest or what have you, and you just go off there. There's no other reason to go there, really. But you go off there just to get that thing and tick it off the map and get credit for doing it, kind of a thing. And so it's kind of the same in that regard. Now, of course, instead of naval battles, like, in Black Flag, you'd run into some enemy ships and you'd have to, handle them in some way. Here, you have a car and there's a bunch of people with other cars that are trying to kill you. And so you have to upgrade your car, much like you upgraded your ship, to make it where you can handle it better and get better defenses, and to basically, instead of naval was that naval combat, you have vehicular combat. So very interesting. Instead of fortresses, like on these big islands, there would be fortresses, right? So you would get close and they start raining down cannonballs onto the ocean, or into the Caribbean, I guess. I don't know. And wasn't that where it was set? I think it was in the Caribbean, but it's like raining them down, and so there's a big red mark where it's going to hit, and then you have to kind of get out of the way, or else your ship takes some damage. Well, it's the same thing in here. You have these camps instead of fortresses, which are built up kind of like fortresses, and basically when you get close to them, the outside perimeter defenses activate, and then they start shooting fire at you. There's snipers trying to kill you. It's kind of the same thing there. And then, okay, let's say you have a map. You go to a new area. You don't know where anything is. So, and Black Flag, what do? You just go get back up on top of that viewpoint there, and a little hawk flies by as you see everything.
Isn't it an eagle, not a hawk?
It might be. I don't know. It's been a while. I haven't played them in a while. So, yeah, I think it might be an eagle. So, yeah, an eagle goes, some bird, some predatory bird flies by, and, falcon. I don't know. It's not falcon. But, Yeah, and then all of a sudden you have this moment of clarity and you can see where all the treasure chests are and everything else, right? And so you see all the different locations. Well, here we are in Mad Max, the Ash Creed of the future. You just jump in a hot air balloon, go all the way up, get your binoculars out, and then you basically have see where everything is. So kind of the same thing as the viewpoint. All right. And what about sidekicks? Well, in Ash Creed, you have Ottawale as your go-to guy. Y'all had a history together, prisoners and whatnot. And so, yeah, in your absence, you trust you trust Ottawale to guard your ship and until you get back to it. And it's always there, when you can always call him and, notify Ottawale through, I forget how you notify him, but he pull the ship up. And in Mad Max you have Chum Bucket, which is I don't know.
I was waiting for you to bring him up because
I
I
loved
can
him.
picture him. I remember him, the little hunchback guy sitting on your car with a friggin' harpoon. I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah, Chum Bucket. Yeah, Blackfinger.
Chum Bucket.
Yeah, so he rides along with you the whole way, keeps you company, and likable guy. I mean, he's very enthusiastic. There's no doubt about that. And I mean, he's an interesting looking fellow, but he always guards the car. And whenever these people are trying to kill you, they never want to harm him. I mean, he's just sitting in the back of the car, and they're like, swinging weapons at you, and you're just, Chum Bucket doesn't help and he doesn't hurt. All right, so there you go. Yeah, and then of course, most importantly, instead of being a straight hack and slash, this has been upgraded to a beat 'em up. So it's like Ash Creed beat 'em up to me. And so the more I played it, the more I was thinking, man, I just want to go play Black Flag for the 360, which I haven't touched yet. I'm saving it for a rainy day, kind of, so to speak. So, it's always like having a version of a game that I can go get some Chivos in. So, but yeah, so I haven't touched that. So there's my comparison. I think that's why I really have enjoyed this game. And I'm just curious if you see my rationale on this. Am I crazy on this?
I mean, I appreciate the metaphor for sure. The analogies were solid.
Yeah.
But ultimately you just kind of described any open world game.
I suppose so. I don't play a lot of them. So I don't know. I just felt like this was
Not to crush your enthusiasm or anything like that, but you could really make the same comparison with any other open world.
I suppose they're all taken from the same stuff. But this game was released right after that. I mean, a couple years, but I feel like they really borrowed from it for some reason. But I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of differences. I don't know. So again, I don't play a lot of open world, so maybe so. I mean, I don't remember Goat Simulator being like this, but yeah, whatever. That's an open world game, right?
I mean, I guess technically it's an open world. I'm literally face palming right now for our listeners. Yeah, technically it's an open world. Not quite what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum. I played that. That's yeah. I don't know. I don't think I would have thought that game was a lot like Black Flag or anything. I'm just kind of looking at the list here of ones I've played. Yeah, basically, I've just played Assassin's Creed and Batman.
I don't know. Just take any open world with free traversal, not instanced or closed areas. Just that's just collectibles, and there's going to be some combat on the way. You'll be able to summon your ride for whatever.
So, since there's so many of them, which one would you point to that's very similar?
You ready? I'm gonna go very abstract, and Forza Horizon is basically the Assassin's Creed Black Flag of the road because you need
Forza
to travel
Horizon?
from point A to point B. Yeah.
Can you even get out of your car in that game?
You stand on the podium after you win a race. And then instead of walking around and climbing things, you drive around and go off ramps. And then there's some combat where you got to take out those vicious trash cans and trees. and there's lots of collectibles to find.
It sounds like an amazing hack and slash.
And instead of, other people shooting at you, it's just the stupid drivatars trying to push you off the road,
Here I thought you were going to come. You mocked my Goat Simulator, and you come in with Forza Horizon as your comparison.
But yeah, I was trying to really prove my point with something very abstract. You want to do Borderlands? I know you know Borderlands.
Oh yeah, I know Borderlands.
You can summon a car from Catch a
Oh yeah.
Rod, and then you
Oh
gotta
yeah, I
drive
love that
across
guy.
the wasteland, which is like the dirt
Okay.
ocean, and then there's guys shooting at you, and then you have to shoot back at them, and then you can hack and
Okay.
slash if you want to, or you can long range if you want to. There's lots of collectibles. If you play
Okay,
co-op,
I
you
see
usually
that
have a
one.
guy sitting on your car shooting.
Well, since you mentioned co-op and online compatibility, with this glowing review that I've given this game, how could it be such a mixed bag? Why am I so conflicted on this game? Well, you see, you kind of led me in there. That was actually a really good comparison, by the way. The elephant in the room is that, and there's an unobtainable. All right, I know,
There
and
is?
it's kind of a big one. So it's an unobtainable with an asterisk. It's unattainable if you started the game today, but you've played it a long time ago, so it's probably not unobtainable for you. So
Mm,
basically, in 2020, the servers went down on Halloween of all times. But Halloween 2020 servers go down, and then all the online multiplayer stuff goes down with it. Now, you might say, well, that's okay. There's no multiplayer achievements on this this list of achievements that this game has, but you see, there's one, and it is the one that has the highest ratio, which is called Up to the Task, and it is earned for complete all non-repeating challenges. So, in keeping with the Ask Creed analogy, this is basically the 100% sync of this game. So, you always aspire, if you're a diligent assassin, to get that 100% sync. Well, here you're going for completing all the challenges and earning up to the task. So this game's 100% sync. Now, it's so stupid because it's not even a critical or minorly critical part of the game, because like the challenges are just a whole bunch of random stuff, and then there's like 100 something challenges, and then there's this one. So even though there's a multiplayer mode, which is completely gone now, but this challenge is present in the single player mode of the game, which is the story mode, and it is an online based challenge, which is you basically set up a scrap crew in a location, and then it's designed to kind of earn you scrap while you're not playing the game. And so you check back in, and oh look, they gathered 300 scrap. Oh yeah, it goes to the pile. Well, it's for basically getting 500 scrap, and so that is online based, and so you can still set up your scrap crew, but they're not gonna find any scrap, and even if they did, you would not be able to claim it. So, of the 100 something challenges on here, basically 99 of them are doable, and then that one single challenge, which has nothing to do with anything important in the game, basically voids it out, and you can't do it. So it's like, it's just frustrating, because it's like, I started the game a long time ago, and I guess I just didn't know that this was a thing, that the servers were gonna go down, and so I didn't get that challenge completed. So it's basically, this game is not completable for me. So it has a very hefty completion time, like you mentioned, that it's a grind, but so it's like, what do I do now? So I want to enjoy the game. I want to finish the game. I want the completion, but it's so skewed now. It's actually changed how I'm playing the game, because The harder challenges on the list, or the real grindy challenges, screw those. Those are out the window. I'm gonna go blow up. Like there's like, I don't know, 10 challenges for blowing up vehicles in a different ways and of sort. I'm not gonna go find these cars. I'm just gonna kill them as fast as possible and be done with it. I'm not doing all that. And there's one for like filling up your canteen 1,000,000,000 times. Nope, not gonna do that either. There's no Chivo, no reward. I'm out. I'm done with that. So all the challenges that will allow me to enjoy the game further, I could still do them, but I would do them pissed off because I know that there's, at the end of the day, there's nothing's going to happen with it. So, and this has actually bled into other achievements in the game. So, there's a scrap achievement called Looked Everywhere, and it's obtainable for basically going to every location on the map and looting all those locations 100%. And it's worth 10 whole gamer score. Nope, not gonna do it. And there's an achievement called 1,000 Words for collecting all the history relics, which are scattered at these locations all around. They're really easy to find, but I don't care. It's worth 5 whole gamer score. Nope, not gonna do it. So, like, what's the point of adding all these hours and hours of gameplay where I would actually enjoy the game, but not it's like it's tainted the game, because I know that in the end it's just not, I'm just going to have that little unfinished game in the what if. And so I could finish the game with 48 out of 49 achievements for 920 gamer score, versus finishing with 46 out of 49 for 905 gamer score, shaving off
Right.
10 to 20 hours of time. I see no point in doing that. So,
Yeah, that seems like a pretty easy
right.
toss up there.
But normally I would, because I'm enjoying the game, and I would, but it's just like, I feel like it's my way of getting back at the game, like in some weird way, that if I don't do that, then somehow I've save face or something like that. I don't know, but and if they ever fix it, and there's a bunch of people holding out hope that they still will, apparently there's posts on this solution of the thing that's the unobtainable as recent as this month. Like, and even though they've like made it unobtainable in 2020, people are still talking about this like 4 years later. And apparently Steam, they fixed it on Steam, but it's like, I don't know. But if they ever fixed it, I would go back and I would go loot everything and get all the the collectibles and whatnot. But it's just, I don't know, balls in their court. And so, but especially on the looting, because it kind of curtails another thing I hate about the game, which is it's so freaking, we talked about this another the previous one, it's so freaking dark, and it's like dark as hell, and you can't see anything. It's not like dark and cool like Star Trek Empire Strikes Back or anything like that, but but you can't see like a dang thing. Like if you, and I could go into that. I've probably talked too much about this already, but basically the light of the day, 3/4 of the day, you can't see a dang thing. If you're fixing to go look for some collectibles, you're going to have some issues. They kind of glow, which actually helps you find what I call the scrotum totems. I think they're like called Scrotus insignias or something.
Scrotus, yeah.
Yeah, Scrotus. Yeah, I call them the scrotum totems. There's like the insignia for the Scrotus clan or something like. But they're glowing red, so when it's dark, it actually you can see it like forever away. So I always look for those at night. And then the other ones, they kind of glow too, but they're usually in some dark corner where you can't find them, and it's just unpleasant. I've spent because I'm trying to get this other achievement for finding basically all the stuff in the camps, and some camps are pretty large, and so there's always that little corner you can't find it. And so I know if I went to 100% all these different locations, it would just eat up hours and hours of time. So I don't know, but and I hate to end on the bad note, so I had one little positive note on this game I wanted to add on.
Well, real quick then, before you go into the positive, when you asked me at the very beginning, what did you think of it? That's what you just said is exactly why I stopped playing. I enjoyed the heck out of it, but I knew that if I went for the completion, that if I continued playing it, I wouldn't have enjoyed sort of that second half as much, because I beat the main story, and I think I cleared like all the big areas in about 30 hours, and I got 500 gamer score, and I could have done another 50 hours for the other 500 gamer score, but it would have just
Mhm.
been
Right.
collecting and looting and 50 repetitive hours. So I had 30 very good hours and didn't want to ruin the overall game. So I think we're pretty much on the same page here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would be willing to do that, just because it's in my genre of choice. So I would be willing to do those 50 hours and get the completion. But I mean, without the 80 gamer score, and it's just, I mean, it's going to be incomplete anyway. So yeah. So I'm going to probably finish with slightly more time than you, but I'll probably get the 900. But yeah.
Gentleman's 905.
Yeah, exactly. But my, I do not enjoy driving games, and the fact that this one has several achievements centered around it, which is fine. They're not terrible yet. And but my suggestion for the game, when they go back and they fix that stupid challenge, my suggestion for them is just like with Black Flag, one of the best parts about the game is sailing around listening to all them sea shanties instead of just hearing the ocean the whole time. So could we possibly add like an 8-track or a cassette player to the vehicle and just have it where you can change the station so you don't have to just listen to I mean, it's just like revving constantly.
And then
Or
don't forget about Chum Bucket like
yeah.
on the back there.
Yeah, just why don't you have him sing or something? I don't know. Maybe he has a beautiful voice we just don't know about. And but yeah, it just I just turned it all the way down, and which is works against you in a way, because the enemies are yelling as they come in. Not that they're really hard to dispatch, but anyway, I want some music in the game. There you go. That's what I want. But and I want that collectible thing or the challenge thing fixed. So mixed bag. Really enjoyed it. I just God, I just wish that they'd fix that and maybe add a brightness setting in the options at the same time. There you go. That's my mix. That's hopefully you can hear the conflictedness in my voice. I really enjoyed this game. I did, but it's just so frustrating because I mean, it's such an easy fix. But whatever. Yeah. So there you go. What you got,
All right. We just talked about Mad Max for 25 minutes, so I'm gonna
It's about time. It's
rapidly shift
about time the
gears here.
podcast talked about it. Yeah.
Um, so I will lead into what I'm talking about rather than just I'm talking
Mhm.
about this, right? You know,
Mhm.
every good essay needs a good hook. Every good segment needs a I was trying not to say good hook, but needs a good hook as well. So, as of the time of recording, last weekend, Kelsey went on a little weekend trip with one of her friends, and I only had a couple hours of work over those, couple days, and I was like, this is it. Like, I'm gonna marathon game. I'm just, gonna sit on the couch and eat cereal for dinner and, just game for 3 days. This is the first time I've gotten to do this in a long time. Actually, the last marathon game opportunity I had was in October when she took another little weekend trip with her mom. So, I was all in. I was looking forward to it. And I
Mhm.
want to clarify that Kelsey doesn't prevent me from gaming marathons. It's not like she won't allow me or anything like that. I just don't want to when she's home because I like spending time with her.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
with that out of the way,
Good disclaimer.
days after, yeah, right? Yeah, no, I don't want to throw her under the bus or anyone to misconstrue that. That is at all not at all the objective here. So, my after party bit is going to be a reflective narrative about marathon gaming sessions.
Mm,
So, before I go in, I have two questions for you.
sure.
One, what amount of time would you consider a marathon gaming session? Like how long does it have to be like, oh yeah, like that was a good hardcore long gaming session.
Okay. Well, for me personally, I mean, I think it's
That's
unique.
what I mean. Yeah, for you,
Yeah,
Elroy OSJ.
I think it's unique to each person depending on how much time you have. So for me, I get to come home and on days that I have nothing going on at school and I have a good 3-hour window that I could game if I want to. A lot of times I do. Often I'll game for a little bit and then work out and then, just kind of wait until my amazing wife gets home. But so for me, I guess I want to say anything over like 5 hours would be considered it. So, and then also a lot of it depends on what time of day. If it's like taking me out of my normal thing. So, like if I started it at 8 o'clock and went till midnight or something like that, it would feel more like a marathon to me, just because that's outside the norm of the hours I normally game. So, way past my
Okay,
bedtime. So, there
for
you go.
sure. Yeah, yeah. You and we're about the same. I was gonna say 5-6 hours. I
Hmm.
feel like is where it turns into like, oh yeah, like
Hmm.
that was just like the good old days, basically.
Hmm.
I asked my brother the same question. His answer was 12.
Dang.
Yeah, he routinely just and I'm jealous in a way.
Yeah.
He'll routinely just sit and game for 8-10 hours. Just that's
That's
all that's his thing. That's literally his only thing.
mhm.
Um, he has a job and then he comes home and just plays all
No.
day. That's it. And he's like, yeah, if I can hit 12, then that's like a marathon. So
God.
I just yeah, I want to give the little I guess disclaimer for lack of a better term that it is very subjective.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, marathon for me will say 6 hours as well. So with that said, let's take a trip down memory lane, right? So
Mhm.
growing up, that was that was sort of the expectation for me, I guess. I grew up in literally the middle of nowhere. Internet wasn't really a thing when we were growing up. I had one friend who lived like a mile away, and if we felt like, we could take the walk to each other's house. But if
Mhm.
we didn't feel like doing that, I had video games. That was it.
Mhm.
So, get home from school, do homework, play games until dinner, eat dinner, and I had to do dishes and then, play games until bed. Like that was my daily routine Monday through Friday. And then
Mhm.
on weekends, wake up early, watch Saturday morning cartoons and then
Oh, yeah.
game all day. Like it was awesome. Like that's just what I did probably like late elementary all through high school into college. And I was actually thinking like what started this? And I have the answer for you. Do you want to take a guess? I'll give you a time frame of late 90s. Listeners, feel free to guess as well. Late 90s, what game hooked me and got me into like genuinely turned me into a gamer, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like I'd played games before,
Mhm.
but this game just drew me right in and bam, I'm just going to play it for 10 hours straight.
It's probably one of those, like, those, MOBAs, if you will.
I don't think
That's
I don't think MOBAs existed in the late 90s.
my brother, man. He was on, I swear they were. Wasn't Evercrack, wasn't that out around then? I don't
Oh,
know.
that's an MMO.
Oh, I'm sorry. MMO. Yeah, I don't ever play them. What's a MOBA
Gotcha.
then? Multi
MOBA is
online.
a shoot. What does it stand for? Multiplayer online battle arena.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was thinking
That's like it's
MMO.
the 4v4 or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
MMO. That's
yeah,
they're different.
yeah.
They're different.
So
It was
MMOs.
not because I was
Oh,
I
okay.
was 8 or 9 years old and we had dial-up
Oh,
internet.
okay. So it's probably a Zelda game then. Those were the real immersive ones of the day.
Your
Or
booster actually was Zelda.
okay.
You want one more guess? It's not Zelda, but you're getting there.
Oh, and I remember there was a lot of really good Mario games that came out around that time as well. Um, so that was the only system I had really had at the time was the Nintendo. So I'm not really sure about. Um, it seems like PlayStation 2 was around then. So I don't know much about their
PS2. I don't.
library.
When did PS2 come out? 2000,
Oh,
2001, something
was it?
like that, or
Okay.
1999 maybe.
Mm,
But it was not actually a console game. It was Pokemon Blue.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, that's what I said, like, you're getting there thinking Nintendo realm, but yeah,
Yeah.
Pokemon Blue, was the first game that really, like, okay, this is it wasn't just, "Ooh, I'll play some games," like, we had a
Yeah.
Genesis and a N64, and, I played Mario 64 and Sonic, but it was just, like, something to do, and then Pokemon Blue, like, this is
Mhm.
this is what I do now, I'm a gamer now, so, yeah, I had over 1,000 hours
Oh, gee.
in Pokemon Blue in like a year. I got it summer between 3rd and 4th grade. So over 4th grade, I just played Pokemon. That became my existence. And then Yellow version came out the next year, and I put
Mhm.
another 1,000 hours in. And then Gold and Silver, I got Silver came out. There's another 1,000 hours in a year, and then Crystal came out. There's another 1,000. my life was consumed by Pokemon games for a while, but it definitely got. I'm a marathon gamer now. Like this is what I do. Um, and then I was thinking, like, what did I do when I couldn't play? Because I remember a couple times I would like run out of batteries. Do you remember? Do you
Oh yeah.
remember that problem?
Right.
So, I'd like, oh man, like the light came on, like I better save real quick every
Uh,
8 seconds so that if it dies, I'm only losing 8 seconds of progress. And I'd, just switch to something else like it wasn't a big deal because I would just keep gaming. Um, so it really wasn't until high school. Like again, that was all through middle school. Finally, high school is where I discovered my knack for playing instruments and writing music. So there's a bit more of a balance between I'm not just going to game all day. I'll do some music too. Um, but I still had plenty of marathon gamings. So the pinnacle, if this was English class, this is the climax of the story here, right? Was in December 2010, and I think I mentioned this in some capacity on the show, or maybe just in Discord. But World of Warcraft Cataclysm,
hmm.
the expansion came out. Um, so I planned like way ahead. Like I had this set up. I went and bought like a case of soda, like 100 like caffeine pills that like the truckers use, like 5 hour energy. Like all the things. It's just like here's my game plan. So the new content came out at 3 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and it was my junior year of college, so I had class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 3. I was off Tuesday, Thursday. So I got home at like 4 o'clock on Monday, and I just went right to bed. I slept for like 10 hours. I just sort of forced myself to sleep through that afternoon. I woke up at like 1:30 or 2 a.m. on Tuesday, and then we were logged in and the content was already like downloaded and installed. It just sort of they flipped a switch basically at 3 and it unlocked. So it was online. It was seamless. It was awesome. That doesn't happen anymore, right? But I went right into it. So I've been online since 2 a.m. Tuesday, and I did not log off until about 10 p.m. on Thursday.
Wow, dude.
So if you're doing math, that's 68 hours or so of just straight Warcraft. I had some snacks. I lived on Dew and Doritos. I went to the bathroom if I needed to, but just basically I was just a neat for 3 days and just nothing but caffeine and adrenaline keeping me going there. I did skip all of my classes on Wednesday to play games. That was one of the few times I did that, and I was the server first level 85, so like it was totally worth it, and I have no regrets. And I look back, um, perhaps a little ashamedly, but mostly very fondly
Huh.
on that marathon that I know I will never do that again. I haven't done anything since, and I never will.
What's
You ever do anything like that, or
Oh man, every once in a while we have those lock-ins for the students, and those, man, that was pretty brutal. I actually had to stay up all night. I don't do that very often. That's very much outside my norm, but I had to stay up to finish a project, the yearbook. It was due, and I had to get it turned in, so I stayed up all night while on a student field trip, and I got it turned in. And but man, I was only up for like 30 hours and I felt like terrible. So I don't know. That was probably as far as I've gone with just staying up in general. But no sleep for 60 hours is that's just next level insanity to me. Don't you start actually getting hallucinating after like 48 hours, I think? I
I've looked into that in the past, not related to this. Yeah, there's like some signs and symptoms or
Yeah,
something. I think after 96, like you can't function as a human, essentially.
yeah, like
Like
you were riding that line there, man. Like,
8 hours, like almost just three
yeah,
straight days. I sat on my couch with my laptop on my lap. At one point, I got up and moved to the table because like I
you're right.
needed to adjust a little bit. But then back to the couch. Like that was like I told my mom because I still
Uh,
lived at home. Was like, Mom, I'm doing this. Like you can't tell me otherwise. And then she
mm,
wasn't happy that I was cutting class, but it's whatever. I was a good noodle 4.0, blah blah blah.
right.
So she wasn't too upset. Um, or she didn't let me know because I think she could tell how like hyped I was to do this.
Yeah,
Um, but
that's funny.
yeah, actually, this is a random sidebar. that I just thought of with World of Warcraft. When I would go stay at my dad's house, I would still, pop in and visit him
Mhm.
periodically during the week. He would go to bed at like 9 o'clock and then wake up at 6 in the morning, and I would just sit in his dining room and just play Warcraft all night. And I would hear his alarm clock go off at 6 a.m. And that was my like, oh shoot, like I would log out real quick and close my
Mhm.
laptop and then sneak into bed so he didn't know that I'd been playing all night. But yeah, that was marathon gaming, right? So that's
Yeah,
the
Pokemon
good old
and
days.
Pokemon did this to you. Yeah.
Pokemon did this to me. So let's fast forward to now. Back to where this story started, right?
Mhm.
Um, Kelsey goes on vacation, and I start my marathon session, and I'm like an hour in, and then something happens on my phone. So, I get distracted. Now I'm on my phone for half an hour. Back to gaming for 45 minutes, and then my brother calls, and then we chat for an hour. And then, all right, back to gaming, 30 minutes. Like, man, I'm hungry. So, all right, I'll pause. Let's make lunch. And then I got to eat, and I got
Mhm.
to finish the show I put on while I'm eating. All right, back to gaming. So, half an hour gaming goes by again, and my back hurts now from terrible gaming posture. So like let me move to bed for 20 minutes just to give my old man spine a little break here. And of course, 90 minutes later, because that's how that goes, you can only doom scroll so much. 90 minutes, let's get back to this gaming marathon that I'm so excited for. And ah, I'm just not feeling it anymore. So I'll just put something on TV, right? So I'll watch 2, 3 episodes of whatever, anime I got on, and now it's like an hour, hour and a half later. Yeah, let's go back to gaming. But then I finished the level that I was on, and this is like a good place to just save and pause and come back later. So it's been like 7.5, 8 hours now, and I think I got maybe 3 hours of gaming in on the day that I'd been hyping up for weeks. Like I'm gonna game all day, and it didn't happen. And that's when I reminded myself that the last time I was excited for a gaming marathon on Kelsey's last vacation in October, the same damn thing happened. And it's just sort of the realization hit on the second time, like, I guess I just can't do that anymore. Like, is this what getting old is like? Fug, let me know, I guess,
Yeah.
if that's, accurate. But like I can't do it even if I want to. I set aside the whole day. I'm gonna play all day. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I physically, mentally can't do it, and I don't know why. I need breaks. I need to move.
Mm.
I don't know, man. I can't do it. I can make all the excuses, think all I want, but
I
that's
mean,
just not
now,
me anymore, I guess.
so what percentage do you allocate to the percent that you can't do it versus the percent that you just don't wanna do it anymore?
See, I don't know, like realistically, I feel like it's 50-50. But when I say, like, I was like, "Hurry up and go on vacation," like, "I love you, miss you, get out of here so I can sit on the couch and just play all day," like, I was so excited for that,
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah.
I'm just not feeling this anymore. So, like, I want to, but I can't.
I thi
I just can't.
oh, no, it's
So
yeah, that's no, that's funny to me you say that. It's like, with my situation, Kelly's at work. I mean, I have the all summer off. I mean, I'm a teacher, so I still keep teacher hours in the sense of I'm up at 6 in the morning, and that's sleeping in because normally I get up at 5, and so I can't turn that off. I get up early, and then she gets home at 5 o'clock. So I mean, every day I'm looking at like probably a 12-hour window if I really wanted to. I could just sit on the couch, no judgment, no questions asked, just plow through 12 hours of games. I mean, I could do that every day in the summer. But and but it's just like, I have too many other interests now, I guess. I don't know. It's to me, gaming is it's just one of my interests. I mean, I enjoy
Mhm.
dancing with Kelly. I enjoy working out. I mean, I do that. I mean, I just have different interests now. I have still the gaming is probably my top hobby, but it's not the only thing I got going on, I guess. And so I think that's probably what you're experiencing too. Is that you just, as you get older, you get more responsibilities and more things that occupy your time, I guess, so I don't know. I think that what you're saying here is that you've grown as a human. You've grown as a
There you go. Put a positive spin on it. I've matured.
you've matured and grown as an individual. So congrats. That is funny though. I think probably a lot of folks listening have had probably a similar experience where they just you just change, man. If you were the same person you were back then, I'd be more worried about you, right? I mean, people change. So, but yeah, I mean, I had a taste of kind of old school gaming when the final week or final few weeks of GTAS last year, because you just have to play more. And I was miserable. Like everybody on our team was miserable. It was like embrace the suck. Like everybody was, like it was terrible. But everybody, you didn't want to let down your other three teammates, so everybody was doing it for the other three people, and it was just awful. And yeah, one of my teammates actually tried what you described, where he thought he could pull an all weaker or something. I don't know. And then he just like collapsed. I mean, he couldn't do it, and it almost cost us the championship, because I mean he was in a bad way like by day 4 of that week. So yeah.
Jeez.
So yeah,
an all weaker, man. That's intense.
We're like, okay, man, all right. I mean, I didn't really. I just thought, well, maybe he knows his body better than I know. I just know that I'd be trash if I stayed up for more than like 18 hours. But whatever. So yeah, you do you. So, but
well, let me just end my. I don't know if that was like a complaining segment. I called it a reflection on my changing,
reflection. I like
habits,
that.
I guess. But let me just cap it off with this. So I've mentioned a couple times, Kelsey has never been a gamer. She didn't have games growing up. She's played some games with me, blah 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 blah. I got her Hogwarts Legacy. She's obsessed, man. Like, to everyone who just recommended I get her this game for her birthday, I've gotten her some lovely birthday gifts over the years, and she has not gotten near as much enjoyment out of any of them as she has Hogwarts Legacy. So, case in point, a couple days before she left for her vacation, there was just like a random Tuesday, like the first week of her summer. She woke up at 7 a.m., put on Hogwarts, and at 7 p.m. finally decided it was time to go. I think she probably took like an hour for lunch in the middle, but she straight up just played that game for 11 hours straight all day.
Sounds like a
And
keeper,
honestly,
man.
I was in the man cave, because I still have work in the summer now, and I would just go out and look like, wow, she's still playing. And then I finished my work. I was like, wow, she's still playing. Let me eat lunch. She's still playing. Like, I'll play some games now. And then, all right, I'm good. It's been 2 hours for me. I gotta get it. She's still playing. Oh my gosh. So, it makes me happy that she's enjoying a game, and super jealous because I can't do that anymore.
Man, it sounds like husband of the year, man. You got her the best gift that she always
I
wanted.
really did. Really did, man.
That's awesome. Well, there you go. Sounds like a keeper is what I
So,
was saying. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, I guess for me, I'm just gonna put a cherry on top with in honor of your loyal companion in Mad Max named Chum Bucket. I'm gonna go with the top 3 synonyms for chum across the world. Number 3, burly. Number 2, Shervy, and number 1, and one by a lot, Rubby Dubby.
okay. Well, I thought I would continue on my reflective theme with the top 3 games of my childhood in terms of hours spent playing them. Number 3, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance on Game Boy Advance. Number 2, Disgaea Hours of Darkness on PS2. And number 1, by a landslide, Pokemon Emerald on GBA.
Yeah, makes sense. So, all right, well, thank you everyone for coming to the after party. Let us know what you think in the usual spots, and hit us up if you have any ideas for us to kick around, or if you just want to talk about some Rubby Dubby. Later, guys.
See ya!